central tenets of the Hindu religion is that something survives after death. And you mentioned that consciousness is eliminated at the time of death. And I'd like to sort of cite to you several examples to the contrary. So I'm standing here today and I have witnessed myself change over decades. I've seen myself go from childhood to where I am today. And but something within me has stayed the same that has witnessed the change. So that's one argument. The other, as a sleep physician, I can tell you, is that when I go to sleep and wake up in the morning, I'm aware if I had great sleep or bad sleep or I was totally unconscious. So again, there was something deeper inside me that sort of witnessed all those stages of sleep. And finally, when I experience life through the different senses, and I keep going back, there seems to be something within the rearmost portions of my brain that's witnessing it. I'm witnessing you making your arguments, and I'm sensing them, but there is something way behind that has stayed stable. So I think that's the central tenet of our religion, Vedanta it's called, that whatever it is in my consciousness that survives my demise is also the same in you as well, and in all of us. And I'm wondering if you have any answer to that.
Well, I was with you until you made the leap to what survives after you die. Because all that other stuff, like the part of you that goes to sleep, passes out of consciousness, comes back into consciousness, I mean, that's still your functioning brain. The part of you that you like to think is continuous from your childhood to your adulthood, again, your brain's been working the whole time. So yeah, I'm with you for all of that, but that says nothing about what happens when the brain permanently ceases to function. Now, by the way, this is not to say that there aren't puzzles, conceptual mysteries about what philosophers call the problem of personal identity. So, for example, if an 18-year-old commits a crime, should he still be in jail when he's 65? Is it, in a sense, the same person? Is it morally justifiable to make the 65-year-old suffer for what the 18-year-old did? Or is there some sense in which that was kind of not the same person because the brain was different? And there are many other puzzles that philosophers, Derek Parfit probably being the most famous, have explored. None of them, though, I would say, cast doubt on the idea that a functioning brain is absolutely necessary for consciousness, and that when it stops functioning, consciousness ceases.
Can I say something about that? One thing, sir, I would like to correct is, we must understand that you call something a religion only if you're forced to believe something that is not in your experience. So the Vedanta that you refer to and the Hindu culture and traditions that you refer to have no belief systems. It is a land of seeking. You're supposed to seek. This is the reason why in that culture there are no commandments. Nobody can give us commandments. Who can give commandments to Indians? They're full of questions. So, this is a process of seeking. How many ways of seeking? Well, we came up with thousands of ways of seeking, different ways for each individual how to seek. But the fundamental of seeking, as I already said once, is that you have realized that you do not know. That's why you're seeking. Because most human beings do not understand the significance of I do not know. I do not know is the basis of longing to know. And longing to know is the basis of, if at all, if you know one day, at least the possibility of knowing opens up only because we realize, I do not know. Having said that, the important thing about what you're saying, this is a university, I don't know if this is a place for go into this aspect because you talked about beyond death, what happens, and it need not be just an assumption or something that you believe. The fundamental is this: as we sit here, this is my body, that is your body, 100%. This is my mind, that's your mind. Here and there we may overlap, but this is my mind, that's your mind. But there is no such thing as my consciousness and your consciousness. There is only one consciousness. You have captured some, I have captured some. We have methods and ways how you can capture a larger bubble so that suddenly everything about you is enhanced. I can show you hundreds and thousands or millions of people who are at one level of living, suddenly they move to another level of experience and living simply because they manage to blow their bubble little bigger. So this bubble, the film of the bubble, is essentially information. This information, in the culture that you come from, we call this karma. Karma means as we sit here, our body is doing activity, this is one kind of karma, physical karma. Our mind is doing things, this is mental karma. Our emotions are doing stuff, that is emotional karma. Our energy is doing things, that's this energetic karma. 4 dimensions of karma are happening to us in wakefulness and sleep, non-stop. Now, how identified you are with those things will create tendencies within you. These tendencies we very rightly refer to as vasana. Vasana is a perfect word for this because the word vasana means smell or odor. So what kind of vasana you have depends on what kind of tendency you develop. What kind of tendency depends on what kind of information that you gathered in so many unconscious ways. So this information determines what kind of a person you are, but what kind of a being you are. When I say what kind of a being, see, you are the only life on this planet which is referred to as a being, not because human beings had the dominance over language, no. It is because you are the only one who can determine how to be. All other creatures respond instinctively to whatever their requirements are and whatever the external stimuli is. So, what you're referring to as what is beyond life, what is beyond this body, beyond this psychological drama that we're going through, is just a bubble of information that may travel. But there are ways to… You also know, you mentioned Hindu, so that means the objective of that culture is to attain liberation or mukti. What this means is, you deprive yourself or you demolish all this karma or this information that you have gathered, or distance yourself in such a way that this bubble doesn't carry on. That's a whole process. Now this is too far-fetched for you because I'm going too rapidly, there are too many loopholes in this, but this can be properly put across and it can be made to be experienced, not just talking about it.